Good afternoon, Manchester. It is Friday, April 12th, and welcome to this week's edition of The Pulse. I'm Anthony Cavallo.
And I'm Jennifer Rivard. Thank you for joining us. This week on The Pulse, we will highlight the long-running success of our outdoor track team.
Then we'll find out how many people's brackets fared during this year's chaotic March Madness.
Finally, we will show how one MHS student turned a graduation requirement into something much greater.
All this and much more coming up on this week's edition of
The Pulse.
For decades, MHS athletes have dominated in track and field events, winning multiple state titles and competing in regional and national events. And this year's team hopes to not only live up to these standards, but to exceed them. Natalie Sanchez brings us the story.
Running, jumping, throwing. These all take immense roles in this spring sport. Track and field is one of the most diverse sports here at Manchester High, and it is also the most successful. Students love the competitiveness of it and look to go above and beyond to try and win every event they compete in. Hannah Sullivan, who holds 3 school records, looks to continue to add to her resume.
During my last season, I definitely want to hit a 220 for my 800, and I know I want our 4x4 to compete at states.
Some kids like Eric Tan do it to further their athletic ability for other sports they may partake in.
Track prepares me for football because with track, and I do indoor and outdoor track, you can get as much as time, actually more time in the weight room than actually doing football workouts because we only have it for an hour, but for track, you have it for the whole practice.
The track team is off to a great start with a record of 1-0 and is looking to continue this undefeated record throughout the season. From Manchester, I'm Natalie Sanchez reporting.
We are looking forward to the success of our track and field team this year. I used to run track in middle school and it's not easy.
Yeah, I agree, but I hope they have a great season. The courtyard used to be one of the most popular and highly used locations in MHS, but 2 years ago it was closed and it has not been open since. Brian Gleba investigates new developments with the courtyard and investigates the rumor that it will be reopening in the near future.
Fresh air, sunlight, 2 things students have been denied access to for almost 2 years. Manchester High School has 2 courtyards, one in which the entire school forms around, and a smaller one right across the hall from the cafeteria. These courtyards were used by both students and staff for years, but were closed indefinitely late into the 2016-2017 school year, leaving many students wondering why.
So the big courtyard is closed due to weather, so we don't have kids use it for passing time in the colder weather, rainy days, or during the snowy months. The other issue that it sounds like has impacted courtyard use is bees. So we always have to check on the bee situation before we can make sure the courtyard can be used.
MHS has taken the precautions necessary to fix the bee problem, and with the weather improving, is looking forward to using the courtyards in the near future.
On good weather days, we could start talking about using the smaller courtyard for lunch, which is where we have the tables moved, and the bigger courtyard for passing time.
The red lunch tables, formerly resting in the large courtyard, were moved to the smaller one, hopefully to be used for lunch. This is an important privilege for all students, including sophomore Lindsay Hoover.
I think it's important because it's a good space for people to hang out and have lunch.
Having the courtyards reopened will allow students to not only eat outside, but also get to their classes faster.
It will shave like half the time of my commute from class to class. My classes are from one side of the building to the other.
Students think it will be beneficial to them, and when asked if they would use it,
most definitely, yeah.
Well, if it gets opened, yeah.
I need my sunlight, to be honest. You need that vitamin D, you feel me?
Both of the courtyards have been closed for almost 2 years now. However, there's a chance that they'll be reopened in the coming weeks. From The Pulse, this has been Brian Gleba reporting.
From taking quicker routes to class to enjoying lunch in the warm weather, the courtyard opens up endless possibilities for MHS students.
For updates on the status of the courtyard, be sure to pay close attention to our sister program Live for 5 and to Manchester's Daily Digest. On March 27th, the juniors and seniors in MHS's broadcast program traveled to Seattle to compete and learn at the Student Television Network convention. Here's an inside look at this trip.
Christy, how you feeling at 3 in the morning? Chilling? Jake, what about you? 3 in the morning. How you feeling?
Go ahead. We just made it to Seattle. We just landed. We're picking our stuff up from baggage claim right now. We're waiting for the shuttle, and then we're going to our hotel.
We wear sunglasses inside.
Because we're cool.
How does it feel to be in Seattle?
Feels great. Very happy to be here.
Jennifer?
I'm loving it.
You're doing this for
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Today,
The sun will peek out soon, but not on Tuesday. This call during a sports game has the power to decide the outcome.
Helping the Native people, many other residents are still looking for funding and resources from the government.
Such as the Washington Redskins.
I'm actually in here. Yeah.
we gotta be really quiet.
Do you know where Alex Lane is so I can grab it? Send you something.
Because I asked.
Hi, Mom. First time.
Okay, we're on our way to the airport right now. We are all done in Seattle. It's kind of sad. Yeah.
Wide awake.
It's kind of a wild trip. It feels like 10 a.m.
Yeah, I know. It actually technically feels like 10.
From Seattle?
From Seattle?
From Seattle.
From Seattle, this has been Haley Rogers reporting.
Next year, the Pulse will be heading to Washington, D.C. to compete at STN 2020. If you're interested in joining the class, see Mr. Larson in room 175 for more details.
While our news team was out in Seattle, colleges from around the nation were battling it out in the final rounds of the NCAA tournament. This past Monday, Virginia capped off the tournament with a thrilling 85-77 overtime win over Texas Tech. This edition of DNA Sports covers all the things March Madness.
I'm gonna need water.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of DNA Sports. I'm AJ Librio.
And I'm Dalton Heiler. For this week, we'll be talking all things March Madness.
The tournament never fails to surprise us, and this year certainly was no different.
I mean, come on. With all the hype surrounding Duke starting 4 true freshmen, including stars like Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett,
who have proven their potential in becoming NBA superstars after just playing 1 year of college basketball, both of whom will be declaring for the 2019 NBA Draft.
Pretty impressive. I know I was rooting for them, along with people across the nation who were hurt by their upset to Michigan State.
And I couldn't believe the number 1 seed University of North Carolina was upset by the number 5 seed Auburn, giving us quite an interesting and not so expected Final Four. Would you agree?
For sure. In fact, NCAA.com posted an article stating that out of over 17 million brackets, only 0.02% predicted the Final Four correctly, leaving us with Auburn versus Virginia and Michigan State versus Texas Tech.
As a matter of fact, we talked to a couple of MHS students to get their thoughts and predictions for this past Final Four. Let's see how they did.
All right, Ty, so I'm a Duke fan, you're a UNC fan. Both of our teams are out of it. We're projected to be in the championship. But what do you think about UNC losing and Duke losing as well?
I mean, they both played really hard, and UNC's lost to Auburn. Tough loss, you know. They were supposed to make it to the championship, but what can I say, man? Auburn earned it. You know, and Michigan State played a great game. You know, they killed it. And to beat Duke and to beat Zion, incredible. I think that they're going to make it.
All right, Eric, so Auburn's the highest scoring team left in the tournament, and Virginia lets up the least amount of points left in the tournament. So with them playing each other, how do you think that game's going to go down?
I feel like Virginia about to scrape Auburn. You already know we allowed least points per game. It's about to be crazy. Auburn about to lose by Tigers.
All right, so look, Virginia they made it a long way, I give you that, but they're not going so far. Right? Auburn and Michigan is going to be the game. But, you feel me, Auburn is going to take it all the way.
You heard it here first, Auburn Tigers, national champions.
Yeah.
Not!
The battle to claim the title was a great one, as we got to witness 2 teams give it their all in search of the first national championship in program history.
It truly was a great game. It was contested throughout, but after a clutch 3 from Virginia's DeAndre Hunter sending the game to overtime, Virginia found a way to come out on top.
And you definitely don't just win the March Madness tournament by accident. Virginia earned their way to the top and rightfully claimed the crown.
Shout out to Eric Tan for being the lone person we interviewed to get this one right. From DNA Sports, I'm Dalton Heiler.
And I'm AJ Librio.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed to see Duke lose. They were definitely my favorite to win the tournament.
Yeah, I wanted them to win too.
For many young students, reading out loud can be difficult, but the Reading Education Assistant Dogs, or READ program, has been put in place to fix just that. Joe Formosa profiles some of Manchester's helpful and furry friends.
These are the faces of some of the world's best companions. They listen when no one else will.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Thanks to the local READ program in Manchester, dogs like Andy and Grant help encourage confidence in children's reading skills.
I see a young child who might be a little bit cautious around the dog, and by the end of our time together, they're very comfortable with the dog, petting them, holding a book, and reading.
The job for the dog is simple. Be the audience for a child who is learning to read. However, the mere presence helps build confidence while learning a vital life skill.
Loud, stubborn.
Sandra Locke, president of Tales of Joy, has owned 4 reading education assistance dogs. The criteria for these dogs is simple.
Crazy story, did Piggy.
Their number one role is to make reading a pleasant, fun experience for children, to provide children with a good time while they're holding a book or listening to a story. Sometimes I ask for a hug.
It's a mutual relationship. While the dog gets attention, the reader gets an audience. From Manchester, this is Ben, Joe Formosa reporting.
From helping children learn to read to helping the environment, members of the Manchester community are finding countless ways to get involved. Tiana Rawlings profiles a Manchester student that recently used her service learning project to start a small organization called Hidden Oceans. Let's dive in.
Graduation is only a few months away, and with summer and college on every senior's mind, it can be difficult to concentrate at the task at hand, graduation requirements. However, for senior Caitlin Hoagland, her service learning project means a lot more to her than just receiving a passing grade.
This year, we went to the beach, like my family and I went to the beach and just picked up all the trash there, and that kind of like got me inspired to do a beach cleanup on my own.
In order to raise awareness and help support her future beach cleanup, Caitlin has designed her very own t-shirts and named them Hidden Ocean.
I'm calling it Hidden Ocean because there's so much trash in the oceans that it's hidden and a lot of people don't realize. So I'm selling t-shirts to raise money for the cleanup that I'm hoping to do in the spring.
Caitlin has currently raised $300 in t-shirt sales and is planning to sell more as soon as they're available. Caitlin's desire to make a difference inspired her to begin her project outside the classroom before it was ever even assigned.
Many of the projects that students do have a local theme, and they kind of focus on a small idea in a small way around Manchester. Caitlin's taken on a subject that has worldwide implications. It's something that affects everybody across the planet. So it's a big project and for a big topic.
Caitlin has fulfilled the requirements for her service learning project, but is facing a long fight against plastic and pollution in our oceans. However, she wants us to know that we can make a difference. From The Pulse, this has been Tiana Rawlings reporting.
If you are interested in donating to the Hidden Ocean organization, please email Caitlin at 19CAIHOA@mpspride.org. Well, that's all we have for you this week, Manchester. Be sure to tune in on April 26th to get an inside look at the upcoming Class Board elections and to catch Andrew Suey's newest edition of the MHS Guide.
If you have any ideas for stories that we might have missed, you can email Mr. Larson at b11elars@mpspride.org.
To learn more about The Pulse or check out some of our other projects, visit our website at mhstelevision.com.
And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook at MHS Red Prod. I'm Anthony Gawala.
And I'm Jenny Rivard. This has been The Pulse.